Welcome to AI for the People. Today we're exploring some pretty groundbreaking AI tech from NVIDIA.
Yeah, they're really shaking things up with a couple of big releases.
Yeah, so we're going to be diving into Project Digits and the Cosmos platform. These are tools that have the potential to really revolutionize how AI is developed.
And maybe more importantly, who gets to be involved? It's pretty exciting stuff.
Right. So anyone listening, make sure you follow us at AI underscore for the people on your platform of choice.
Yeah, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know what you think of this new tech.
And hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our daily AI updates. Okay, are you ready to dive into the future of AI?
I am. Let's go.
All right, let's start with Project Digits. The big tagline is Personal AI Supercomputer. What does that even mean? Like in practical terms, what are we talking about here?
Well, imagine having a data center like the kind that big companies use right on your desk.
Okay.
Project Digits can deliver 1 petaflop of AI performance.
Wow, okay, that sounds impressive.
It is. It's actually 1,000 times more powerful than your average laptop.
Yeah, but okay, 1 petaflop.
Hmm.
What does that actually mean? Like, what can you actually do with that kind of power?
So you can train and run some seriously complex AI models, even the ones with like 200 billion parameters.
Okay, now I'm really lost. What are parameters?
Think of them like tiny little adjustments on a massive machine learning engine.
Oh, okay.
The more parameters you have, the more nuanced and capable a model is. It's like fine-tuning to the extreme.
So with Project Ejix, you're saying that a small team of developers, maybe even just one person, could take on AI projects that used to require huge teams and resources.
Absolutely. It levels the playing field.
Hmm.
You can rapidly prototype and test massive models locally before you even think about deploying them to the cloud.
That saves a lot of time and money.
It does, and it also opens up all sorts of possibilities in fields like healthcare, finance, even autonomous systems. They can all run those really powerful models right there in their own space.
So it sounds incredible, but I know this kind of cutting-edge tech usually comes with a hefty price tag. How much are we talking here?
The starting price is $3,000.
Oh, why?
Yeah, it's an investment for sure.
Definitely not an impulse buy, but what are your thoughts? For that kind of power, that kind of flexibility, is that a price worth paying?
I think it depends. For individual developers just starting out, that might be a bit of a barrier. But for small businesses, research teams, maybe even startups, this could be a game changer. You're not reliant on cloud computing costs, and you've got complete control over your data, your experiments, everything.
I'm starting to see the appeal. It's like having your own professional recording studio, right? Instead of having to go to a shared space.
Perfect analogy.
You know it's an investment,
Yeah.
but it gives you a whole new level of creative freedom.
Yeah, and in a field like AI, that freedom to experiment and iterate quickly, it's critical.
Okay, so Project Digits is all about the power to build and run these amazing AI models locally. But what about the data itself? Isn't that also a major bottleneck in AI development?
Oh, absolutely. Training AI, especially for anything that interacts with the real world, like robots, self-driving cars, it requires a ton of data. And collecting that data in the real world is, well, it's expensive, it takes forever, and sometimes it's even dangerous.
So how is NVIDIA addressing that?
That's where Cosmos comes in. They're using something called World Foundation models.
World Foundation models.
UFMs for short.
Okay.
These are essentially really sophisticated AI models that can generate incredibly realistic synthetic data. Think of it like creating a virtual world, like a simulation that perfectly mirrors the real one.
Wait, so instead of sending a robot into an actual warehouse to figure out how to navigate, you're saying we could build a virtual warehouse and train it there first?
Exactly. You can simulate all kinds of environments, warehouses, busy streets, anything. Cosmos gives developers a lot of control over the data and lets them create scenarios that might be too difficult or even dangerous to set up in real life.
Okay, that's really clever. It sounds way more efficient and less expensive than just relying on real-world data.
Yeah.
But are there limitations? Can synthetic data really be as good as the real thing?
That's the big question. One of the main concerns is making sure the synthetic data really reflects the real world. You don't want to accidentally introduce any bias or inaccuracies. It's definitely an ongoing area of research, and there are teams working hard to refine those models, make sure they're capturing all that complexity.
So it's a balancing act then. trying to get that efficiency of synthetic data while still maintaining the authenticity of the real world.
Exactly. And one of the most exciting things about Cosmos is that it's open source. So all those tools, all those models, they're available for anyone to use, to modify, even contribute to. NVIDIA is really encouraging collaboration.
I love the open source approach. It just makes sense.
It does. It really taps into the collective intelligence of the AI community.
And that can help move things forward so much faster.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like NVIDIA is pushing the boundaries, right? Both in terms of processing power with Project Digits and data generation with Cosmos. What's the initial reaction been like to these releases?
Oh, it's been overwhelmingly positive. There's a lot of buzz online. People are excited to get their hands on this tech. Developers, researchers, everyone.
Bet. Social media must be blowing up right now. Have you seen any interesting reactions?
Oh, yeah. There was this one AI researcher who tweeted, Project Digits is like having a data center on your desk.
Uh-huh. I love that.
Yeah, it sums it up perfectly, right? This
Huh?
level of processing power, it's not just for the big players anymore.
That accessibility is
Uh,
huge. So what about Cosmos? What are people saying about that?
There was a robotics expert who commented that Cosmos is a game changer for robotics training.
Hmm.
They said the ability to generate this diverse, realistic synthetic data is invaluable.
It sounds like people are starting to grasp the potential, how this could really accelerate things, especially in fields that rely so heavily on real-world data.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how people are comparing these new approaches to the existing ones.
Yeah.
What have you noticed in those discussions?
Well, there's been a lot of talk about Project Digits versus cloud computing.
Right, because traditionally if you wanted that level of power, you'd have to go to the cloud.
Exactly, but now you have this compelling alternative. Localized, high-performance computing right there on your desk.
So it's a trade-off, right? The scalability of the cloud versus the control and speed of local processing.
Absolutely. The cloud still has its place, especially for tasks that need massive data sets or, distributed processing. But for other applications, Project Digits might just be a more efficient and cost-effective solution.
Makes sense.
Hmm.
And what about the comparisons between Cosmos and traditional data collection methods?
Oh, well, that's where the differences are even more striking. Traditional data collection, it's just so slow, expensive, and often limited. Cosmos lets you build your own world, essentially. Generate data for any scenario you can dream up. Imagine trying to collect real-world data for every possible driving scenario a self-driving car might face. It's just not practical.
Oh, it's not.
Cosmos bridges that gap.
Hmm.
It lets you train AI for the real world safely and efficiently.
Yeah. So it's not about replacing real-world data altogether.
Right. It's about augmenting and accelerating the development process.
Okay. So all of this raises a really important question. With this increased power, this increased accessibility, how do we make sure that AI is being developed and used responsibly?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? As AI gets more powerful, more ubiquitous, we have to prioritize ethics, transparency, accountability.
Yeah, and it feels like there's a real opportunity here to shape the future of AI in a way that benefits everyone. What role do you see these tools playing in that?
Well, I think Project Digits and Cosmos, they have the potential to democratize AI development. More people get to participate, more people get to contribute to solutions. If we make these tools accessible to everyone, we can build a more diverse, more inclusive AI ecosystem.
And that diversity of thought, the different perspectives, that's crucial. That's how we identify potential biases, address those ethical concerns before they become big problems.
Exactly. It also means the benefits of AI are more likely to be shared by everyone, not just a select few.
Right. Okay. So we've talked about the technical capabilities, the potential benefits, the excitement in the community. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. What does all of this mean for the future of AI development? What's your take?
I think we're at a really interesting point. These tools, they're not just a step forward, it feels more like a leap. And not just in processing power or data generation, but in accessibility. They're opening things up. I think they have the potential to really accelerate innovation, unlock possibilities we haven't even thought of yet.
It reminds me of the early days of the internet. Like, here's this revolutionary technology, and suddenly it's available to everyone. It's exciting to think what people will create with these tools.
I know, it's like a whole new era of AI. The
Yeah.
power to create, to innovate, it's not limited anymore. And that's what makes it so exciting. But it also means it's up to all of us to shape this future responsibly.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Project Digits and Cosmos, I want to leave our listeners with a couple of thought-provoking questions to consider. If you had Project Digit sitting on your desk, what kind of AI applications would you build?
That's a good one.
Yeah, and how do you think this whole rise of synthetic data, thanks to platforms like Cosmos, how's that going to change the way we think about training and testing AI in the future?
Those are really great questions. I hope everyone listening will take some time to ponder those because the potential is huge. It's really up to us to shape the future of AI.
So if you're already itching to dive into these tools, start experimenting, we've got you covered. For Project Digits, you can head over to the NVIDIA website. They're taking pre-orders for the device right now.
Yeah, it's $3,000.
Yeah, it's an investment, but, as we discussed, it could be a total game changer.
And for Cosmos, it's even easier to get started. All the models, all the frameworks, they're all available right now. You can download them from Hugging Face and the NVIDIA NGC catalog. You can literally start playing around with synthetic data today.
So there's no excuse not to jump in and start exploring. And if you need a little guidance, NVIDIA has a ton of tutorials, community forums, all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's a great resource whether you're a total beginner or, you've been working with AI for years.
Well, I think that wraps up our deep dive into Project Digits and the Cosmos platform. We covered a lot of ground today.
We did, from those impressive technical specs to, those bigger societal questions. It's been fascinating.
So just to recap, Project Digits, it's all about bringing that supercomputer level AI power to everyone. Now, individuals, smaller teams, they can train and run massive models right on their own hardware.
In Cosmos, it's revolutionizing data generation. You can create these incredibly realistic virtual environments, which is a game changer for robotics, autonomous vehicles, so many fields.
And all of this is pointing to a future where developing AI is more democratic, more accessible. It's going to be really exciting to see what happens. But we have to remember that with great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely. As we move forward, we need to be thinking about those ethical implications of AI, making sure things are transparent, accountable, building an inclusive AI ecosystem that benefits everyone. That's the goal.
That's the goal. Thank you for joining us today on this deep dive into the future of AI development. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you'll continue the conversation with us online. Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring. The world of AI, it's just getting started.